to do. Whoa, I wasn't expecting that. I decided to join the MMDA anti-smoke belching here on Commonwealth. So you can see they've got equipment they put into the tailpipe, the exhaust pipe. It measures the emissions and then it prints off a receipt whether they passed or failed. So right now they're speaking to this driver. His jeepney failed the test, so they're confiscating the license. This is a joint operation with MMDA and LTO, so that's why they're confiscating the license. And they give everyone one of these leaflets. I'll scan this and put it in the comment section so you can read it yourself. It tells you what the penalties are and what the next steps are. So the way it works is they have 3 spotters at the front. If they see a vehicle that they think is belching smoke, they're going to pull it in for testing. Now this jeepney looks on the outside to be in good condition. There's tread on the tires, it has a nice clean paint job, the lights are working, see brake lights are working. So I'm very curious to see if this one will pass or fail. So you'll see the tester is coming in now. He'll insert this into the exhaust pipe and then they'll rev the engine to a certain number of RPM. Now one of the common complaints or questions that comes up with anti-smoke belching is how many RPM is the correct RPM. They told me they have a guideline. Depending on the type of vehicle, they go to a certain number of RPM. But the thing is, it's not just about black smoke, it's actually about reading it. So that's why they have the equipment here. So you can see that one there just came in at 9.6. The maximum that they allow I think is 2.5. So the average is 7.48. And it's just printing out the receipt now. That will be used as evidence. So one more jeepney coming in for testing now. They're also checking the registration and license. So if they don't have registration, if they don't have a driver's license, they'll impound the jeepney on the spot. Not just jeepney, any smoke belching vehicle, but of course jeepneys typically do smoke belch, the older ones. What I would really like to see also is a sound meter here. I'm very curious to see what happens with this one because I did see a lot of black smoke coming out the back, but black smoke doesn't mean you're going to fail. It really comes down to the emissions read by this machine here. So the average for that UV Express was 5.74, so not as bad as many of the jeepneys, but still not great. And just behind that UV Express they flagged down a bus which they'll also be testing. So here's the exhaust over here. I can actually see that it's very black. Oh, I better move. So I expect we're going to see a lot of black smoke coming out of this one. That's what the spotters are looking out for, but like I said, smoke is just an indicator. It doesn't mean you're going to fail. Doesn't look too bad to me. I've seen a lot worse buses, but let's see what the test results say. It's actually fairly low scores, to be honest. 3 point something, 3.2. It's not too bad. So even though it's not too far over the limit, they will still issue a ticket to this bus. I asked if they're going to give any kind of consideration if it's quite close to the limit, and they said no, because they really want operators to upgrade their vehicles so they can serve the public better, not only reduce pollution but really, you know, give commuters what they're paying for. So they will be issuing a ticket. The driver of this jeepney over here is showing their emissions testing where they passed the test. And actually this is an interesting thing that's come up because lately the DOTR have been filing cases and suspending a lot of emission testing centers because they're forging results. I'm not saying that's what's happened here, but I'm just saying that it is a big problem and DOTR are cracking down on it and they're catching people that are doing that. So here's their test result from the 21st of February 2019. Let's see how it fares on the MMDA test equipment. The reason why they went for another emissions test is because they were ticketed by the Quezon City for a smoke belching. So here's the jeepney that passed its emissions test from a private testing center. Wow, that doesn't look like a great sign. But let's see what the machine over here says. 9.99, which means it's maxing out the test equipment. And they have all their documents here. For example, they have the proof that they've been deputized by the LTO, calibration certificate also, because every 6 months they have to have this machine calibrated by the DNR to make sure that it's accurate and fair. And here's a copy of that calibration certificate. You can see it was issued on the 28th of March, so it is up to date and the machine should be accurate. This is a relatively new bus, but because they spotted black smoke, they just want to verify. You'll see how people immediately put their hands over their mouth because it's automatic. They're so used to seeing this every day from buses, from jeepneys, from trucks. So I imagine that what this is poor maintenance because this is a relatively new vehicle. And when you go to other countries and you see buses like this, you don't see big black smoke coming out the back of them, even when they put their foot down. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad personally that the MMDA are here and they're catching people like this and then forcing them to get this fixed, because it's not good for commuters, it's not good for pedestrians, it's not good for the earth. And you see they do have signs installed: slow down ongoing MMDA LTO anti-smoke belching operations. So you'll see the spotters are looking out again for any smoke belching vehicles. This is the anti-smoke belching unit of the MMDA. Specifically, they're under HP SEPO. That's the same department that issues tickets for littering, for smoking in public places and other environmental violations. And there you go, they're stopping one from an inner lane now. Bit of a dangerous job, but someone has to do it, and they're helping the country, really, they are. The driver of this one also showed a test certificate from just a month ago, but they're saying no, we'd like to see your license, registration, and then we'll do our own test. Sounds a little bit unusual, but I don't see much smoke, so let's see what the test results say. There's really no black smoke coming out, but if you check the readings, they're around 6.57, 6.4 average. And that was interesting because what you saw there was very little smoke coming out, but a relatively high score. So that goes to show you that smoke may be an indicator, but it's not a definitive. Even if there's no smoke or there's lots of black smoke, it really depends on the actual emissions read by the test machine. One more UV Express being tested over here. Well, that's not good. 9.99, that's the maximum of the machine. So I'm not planning to stay here all day. I'll just wait for them to pull over one more vehicle. We'll see the results and then I'll head on my way. It's good to see them in action, and it's good to know that they're out here doing this, and hopefully it will encourage more people to either maintain their vehicles or to upgrade them so that it's better for the environment, it's better for commuters. They're now rearranging themselves, spreading out further, so that if someone runs, they have a better chance of being able to stop them. But it's very difficult because what are they going to do? Throw themselves in front of a speeding jeepney? It's very dangerous. So maybe for the next operation they can request the MMDA to assign some enforcers, maybe two enforcers on big bikes, so if people run, they can chase them down and add extra violations, because if they escape, it makes a mockery of the whole thing. Pulling in this one now for testing. Some passengers do get a little bit unhappy about it, but unfortunately it's just something they have to do. Whoa, I wasn't expecting that. Suddenly got a face full of black smoke. And that's relatively low RPM. No surprise, the average is 999, which is the maximum the machine can read.